Hi, hello. I'm Anna Spurek, Green Ref Institute, and I'm very happy to invite you and welcome you in our second session during the second day of European Vegan Summit. With me, there is Edoardo Valsecchi, the vegan chef and the business person, the game changer of fine dining in Milan, in the city and the capital of fashion and expensive food and very expensive lifestyle. And in 2021, during the global pandemics, COVID-19, Edoardo did something that seemed to be impossible. He founded and started Linfa, Eat Different. So a very well-known concept, the food concept, restaurant, that offers the vegan fine dining, the plant-based fine dining, not only Italian traditional dishes, but also sushi, and of course, pizza and pasta. So I would like to welcome our guest and ask the very first question about you, Edoardo. So how do you call yourself? Vegan chef, business person, owner?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Anna, for the very lovely introduction. It's a great pleasure to be here for the second year in a row and try to contribute to this magnificent event, which European Vegan Summit. So thank you very much, first of all. How do I define myself? Well, I will define myself as a vegan entrepreneur and a passionate activist about animal rights. Restaurants and hospitality is my kind of way of activism, so trying to showcase how beautiful and satisfying can a plant-based vegan diet can be. And as you said, I launched Linfa, Eat Different, which is my restaurant and hospitality concept here in Italy 3 years ago now, 2021. It has been a very challenging but beautiful journey. Which for me personally has started 10 years ago in the hospitality industry. So I come from the hotel hospitality industry, worked for some restaurant and hotels brand worldwide before coming back to my home country to try to bring what I call a gentle revolution to Milan and to my home country.
Thank you so much. So gentle revolution in Milan, catwalks, fashion shows, and really a lot of restaurants. So why did you pick Milan from the map of Italy?
So Milan is my home city. It's where I was born. It's where I grew up. So I love the idea of bringing something positive to my city at first, and obviously to my country. Milan is where my roots are, and it has been defined the most international city, the most advanced, the most innovative city in Italy. But despite that, unfortunately, there were not so many vegan options around. So I decided to try to give it a go. Basically, see if we could create a new market, which we're gonna discuss in this specific panel.
Thank you. And I would like to ask you also about your activism and veganism. So how many years are you vegan? It started like you was in the hospitality sector, or it was before?
I just started I just started in the hospitality sector when I became vegan. I'm now vegan from 10 years. So exactly when I started joining this industry. it's funny because it was not planned. Was very casual, very unusual. But my first job position was in Dubai, and I couldn't have access to high quality meat or fish at the time. I was working in a very well-known hotel in the Dubai Marina, and obviously what we were serving to guests was not what we were having as staff meals, as you can imagine. I'm very picky with the kind of food I eat. I've got no shame in this. I actually wouldn't bring on the table to one of my customers something that I wouldn't eat personally. So I'm very picky with my food still today. And because I couldn't access high quality meat or fish, I just decided to stop eating them. And I felt incredible change in me. So at the beginning was health reason. I couldn't relate at the beginning because you're young. I was 22, so I just moved to a new country, to a new city, new job, new friends, new co-workers. Everything is so exciting. You just feel great. But actually, all my energy, all my focus was because I actually improved my diet, switching to a plant-based. So at the beginning was a health reason, and then I started digging and getting more information about veganism and plant-based in general. And obviously, you realize what's behind a steak or a fillet, or what really the meat, fish, dairy, and egg industry is. It was just too much. It was just too much. I mean, I wouldn't do it myself, so it will not be. I wouldn't do myself, so I wouldn't pay someone else to do it for me. It's just a lot of suffering. It's just a lot of pain that we shouldn't have in our world. So obviously, my primary let's say now definitely I'm vegan for animals at first, and for the consequences that animal agriculture has on the planet, and lastly for my health.
That's interesting. So you started with health, and today after, let's say, education and awareness, you found out that this is about veganism for the animals. Thank you so much. And I
Correct.
would like to move to our main subject and the title, Vegan Oceans, blue or red. So when we talk in the business way about blue or red oceans, we talk about the competition, we talk about pricing, we talk about space in the market. So how do you see the vegan businesses and the vegan projects in this ocean? Do you think that they are they should be in the blue space, or they should compete with pricing? They should sometimes lower quality to win the battle on the market?
Well, as I said before, to me, quality is very important. It's actually very important in every aspect of life. It can be food. I think it can be fashion. So it can be applied to anything. Veganism, blue or red ocean. I think it's both. Definitely started as blue. So a niche market with early adopters, where innovation thrived due to a lack of competition, and it's actually it's the same for me and my business. There are certain areas where it can be marked as red ocean. So veganism obviously, fortunately, gained popularity, and it's moved towards red ocean in some areas. So there are large players that are entering the market. I joined for a little bit the previous panel. And they were talking about, for example, Unilever or other large companies going into market. I'm going to take the example of Ferrero that last week here in Italy launched plant-based Nutella. So obviously having large players entering the market makes competition fierce, and there are some areas and in which the ocean can be defined as red in certain product categories that I will mention as plant-based milks, meat alternatives, or snacks.
Thanks. And what do you think about your business? Because it's a very unique concept. It's a very high quality concept. So if you should indicate your competitor on the market, so another restaurants, another food concept in Milan, would you think about the vegan ones or non-vegan ones? And that moves us to the question about middle consumer.
So for me and for Linfa, stating that competition for me is very good. Actually, I'm vegan myself, so I would love to see more and more vegan option in the city. Fortunately, it's growing here in Milan, which is great, which is fantastic, and hopefully it's going to be better and better and better. Talking about Linfa, I compare myself and my business to non-vegan restaurants, to be honest with you. Because I started Linfa not to compete, but to prove that plant-based dining, vegan dining it's not a downgrade it's not a downgrade. So we want to compare with other traditional or classic restaurant that we got. That's why, for example, Linfa has a very unique and specific design or atmosphere. So we want to be perceived as our neighbors, as a restaurant where you eat good food, you drink well, you have a nice ambience, atmosphere, and you just have a good time. And you know what? It's also vegan, which implicates it's good for yourself, it's good for the planet, and it's very good for others. So talking about animals and ethics.
So do you think you managed to leave the bubble and leave the vegan bubble? So, vegan activism, vegan consumers, people who visit Linfa, are they vegan?
Small percentage, to be honest with you, and I'm very happy with that. I mean, obviously, we want to cater for vegans and vegetarians. They're more than welcome, but we want to be an inclusive concept, and we want to prove to people that don't follow a strictly vegan or vegetarian diet again how beautiful and satisfying plant-based food can be. It can be very high quality, and it can just be as good, even better than the traditional or the classic restaurants.
So who is the middle consumer? Who is your middle client who visit Linfa?
Well, we've got a very wide range of customers. Mainly, I would say flexitarians. So people that try to reduce their consume of animal products. And then there are very curious people, foodies, people looking for a different experience. Again, by turning gluten-free as well, our customer base obviously expanded because we take great care of intolerances, allergies, or specific requests. So we wanted to create a space that is safe for everyone, and it's enjoyable, a place where you don't have to look at the menu or a dish or saying, oh, I would like this, but without a certain kind of ingredients. So not a complete experience,
So what about your short, but still a supply chain, because it seems to be pretty difficult to supply the high quality ingredients, local ones.
Not really, to be honest with you. In Italy, we're quite lucky, I think, because we've got great quality fruit and veggies, which obviously, and legumes, which obviously are the basis, are the bricks, let's say, of our cuisine. We got such a biodiversity that we can play a lot within seasons. So in Milan specifically, but I think in Italy in general, it's not that difficult to find very, very high quality ingredients, which are also local, because we've got like probably some of the best fruit and veggies and raw materials we can have.
Do you have any advices, any tips for new businesses? If someone would like to open the food space in Milan or in everywhere in Italy, what would be your main advice? The key message?
Well, first of all, to go beyond vegan label. So not to position yourself only as a vegan brand. Obviously, certain kind of customers perceive the vegan label as something positive, as it should be. Unfortunately, not everyone. So let's take Linfa again. I position Linfa to be delicious, sustainable, and an innovative brand. Obviously, you need to communicate your characteristic, which needs to be true, obviously. So the customer, client, that obviously needs to see them reflected into the product or service you're providing. But people here, for example, are coming for the taste of the food, for the selection of the wine, for the experience in general, not only for ethics. So you need, I would say, first advice is to cater to flexitarians, health-conscious consumers, foodies, and not strictly vegans.
Okay.
Second advice, I would say, which is actually they're very correlated. So avoid over niching. Obviously, by speaking to vegans, you're in kind of a comfort zone. You know, you understand each other, and you feel quite safe. While expanding your clientele gets you out of the comfort zone. Well, said, but from me can be funny, because I've got a vegan restaurant which is also under 100% gluten free. So someone might say you're going into the niche of the niche, while actually going into the niche of the niche brought us a wider customer base, because again we're satisfying even other needs, more needs than compared to what we were doing before.
And you said about the vegan and vegan name and vegan labeling ourselves. So we had this discussion, and this is the very broad discussion during the European Vegan Summit, how to call products or places, vegan or plant-based.
I've got a very personal opinion and a business opinion. Again, for me, seeing the label vegan somewhere is very positive to me, because that means that a certain company is paying attention to something that really I'm really attached to. I do really care for, you know. But unfortunately, for other kind of customers, it might be a setback. So I will describe again the characteristics of the service, of your service or of your product. For us, was between the others, creating a welcome atmosphere. For example, veganism is about inclusion, not exclusion. So trying to make non-vegans feel welcome and enjoying without feeling pressure to be converted, let's say.
And we got the first question before we started. What about marketing vegan products as cruelty-free products?
That's an interesting one. To me, I will go deeper, to be honest with you. Cruelty-free is great. I like to see also the other values that the company has.
Okay. And what about you tell a lot and you say a lot about being innovative and innovations. And do you see a lot of innovations in the vegan, plant-based sector and restaurants?
Oh, definitely, quite a lot. I think veganism is just pure innovation. You know, it's about getting creative. Because we don't have the basis of, for example, a traditional we don't have traditional ingredients. We use different cooking methods. For example, in our case, it's a lot about research and development and figuring out new solution to come up with a product that can be satisfying for everyone. So to me, veganism is equals to innovation.
And that's very, I think, important point, because my question is, if someone would like to be a vegan chef, do you recommend, do you suggest, could you indicate any school in Italy, in Europe, globally, to learn how to cook vegan plates, dishes?
Unfortunately, in Italy, I wouldn't be able to suggest one. I'm very sorry to say that, to be honest with you. We are partnering constantly with schools here in Milan, which actually are happy to send us over students, and we are very happy to welcome them, because there's a massive gap, unfortunately, in Italy. So there are no knowledges, no skills. We're very behind on plant-based and vegan cuisine. Unfortunately, I'm very sorry to say that. And that's probably one of the reasons why vegan restaurants don't thrive in this country yet. Hopefully that's going to change in the future. But because we are so attached to tradition, to culture, I think for Italians even more compared to other countries, it's going to be hard to give up to certain ingredients and certain cooking methods and certain preparations.
So how did you personally learn how to cook vegan?
Myself. So myself in the restaurant hospitality space, I don't define myself as a chef. I love cooking, but I'm not definitely a chef. I've been trained, and I always work in what we call front of house. So the floor, basically. I started up as a server, as probably everyone else, and then I made my way up until managing director. So definitely requires time. You need to be patient, and you need to be willing to put everything on the table. So everything you knew before that, everything's going to change, because plant-based ingredients are just different to animal products based. So you need to be willing to do the effort, basically. And unfortunately, not many are willing to do that. Yeah.
So if you want to open the vegan restaurant or bistro, how can you find chef? How can you find people to cook?
That's a really good question. Staff issues is quite a problem, not only in Milan, not only in Italy, but I think worldwide, especially after COVID. The perception has changed a lot in our industry, because obviously it's a tough industry. It's an intense job. It's very hard. So you need to work when basically everyone is off, because you work evenings, you work weekends, you work public holidays. It's a physical job, because being a chef or being a server or a floor manager or whatever requires you physical effort as well as mental effort, because you've got people's health into your hands. So how to find them? It's very hard. It's very hard. We try to grow from within. We grow from within. So we've got our head chef, executive chef, main chef, basically develops recipes and menus, and we try to hire young people that understands our values, what we stand for, and that are willing to learn something new. Teach them our skills, pass them our knowledges, and that's how we do.
Okay, so Linfa is restaurant. Linfa is a kind of school, as an education center for chefs. And what about lab? Do you feel that when you go to the kitchen, you can use I don't know, new technologies or new products, or you want to imitate animal-based products, animal-based proteins, or you are able to create something new?
So Linfa is a hybrid. So it's definitely part restaurant, part laboratory. So on one hand, it's a space where people can enjoy plant-based food and gluten-free food that feels familiar, because we serve pasta dishes, we serve pizza, we serve sushi. We had a wide range of dishes into our menu, that goes from Italian to Mediterranean to fusion cuisine. So they feel familiar, so they're not scared. They're not scared off, but they're innovative. They're comforting, and it's exciting. Normally trying something new. On the other hand, it's definitely a creative laboratory. I'm thinking about our journey to become 100% certified gluten-free. It has been quite an effort. It has been energy, it has been time, it has been money. It has been a massive investment for us to try to recreate, for example, a pizza dough that rises and feels like a gluten one, or same now with fresh pasta. So it's definitely a lab for creative minds like our chef, where they can push boundaries and develop new techniques or improve others, and so that we can elevate the infrastructure of traditional cuisine.
Interesting, sushi. So why sushi in Milan?
Yeah, definitely. We have our plant-based gluten-free version of sushi. In the sushi department, in the sushi area, we use fish alternatives. So an ingredient that looks like and tastes actually like fish. And obviously caters more to non-vegans than vegans. For example, for me, it's very hard to have salmon, the taste of salmon or the smell of salmon after 10 years,
So do you use you said you use the fish alternatives or meat alternatives, and usually you try, I don't know, some local Italian brands, startups, or you try to recreate something?
We try to recreate ourselves as much as we can in terms of cheeses and also kind of meat replacement. So a must-have Italian dish, let's say polpette, meatballs. So we develop our own. We don't buy minced meat for, I don't know, from Beyond or other brands that might do this kind of products. We develop it our own. And if we outsource something, it must be as clean as possible.
Okay.
So again, coming back to the fish alternative, we don't produce it ourselves. because it would be too difficult. Yeah, still it is a lab, but a lab into a restaurant. So we're not a food producer facility, but the ingredient list is super short. So we've got pea protein, we've got a natural colorants, which is carrot juice, and then we have a blend of seaweeds for the taste of sea, and then we've got bamboo fiber for texture, and that's it. There's nothing else. There's no colorants. There's no bad stuff, because we want to propose a healthy but satisfying and indulgent plant-based and gluten-free Italian and fusion cuisine.
Okay, so no plant-based Nutella in Linfa.
No, I'm afraid.
We are not going to.
No, I'm afraid.
Okay.
No, I'm afraid. Happy to invite you in my place in Milan, having Nutella spread on a toaster, but once in a while.
Okay, so we have 2 more questions and a lot of questions from our audience. So 10 years, it's a long and a short time, yeah? When we think about trends and when we think about the story. So what would you pick and indicate as the most challenging moment? We know that it wasn't the pandemic, because you did something that seemed to be impossible. Yeah, you open and launch Linfa. So the most challenging moment in your story and the story of Linfa.
Yesterday? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The beauty of my job is that every day is different, and there's always a new challenge, and that's very stimulating for me. But those 3 years, because it's now 3 years that Linfa exists, have been very difficult, extremely difficult. Something I wasn't thinking I would have been able to do it. And definitely was a bet, because opening up a fully vegan restaurant in Milan that then turns gluten-free. But most difficult time, well, the start actually, right after pandemic. It was very difficult to try to change consumer behavior, because everyone knows Italian cuisine relies a lot on cured meat, cheeses, meat, fish. So try to convince someone to not have these kind of ingredients on the plate was very hard. Was very tough. But it's getting better. It's getting better and better. Perception into generally speaking, perception about plant-based and vegan, it's growing. It's growing and it's getting better. And I think it's in our hands, my hands, the hands of our colleagues that do restaurants, that do vegan restaurants. So we've got the power to change the perception about what people think about vegan cuisine.
Amazing. And what about the vegan market in 20 years? So how do you see the vegan market and the vegan future in 20 years?
That's a good one. I'm a very positive person, to be honest with you. So I'm very confident. If I think about vegan market 20 years from now, I'm very excited, extremely excited. So definitely there's going to be an increase in plant-based diet adoption. I think it's not going to be defined as a trend or anymore just random lifestyle, but it's a necessary shift towards climate change. Just right before the call, we were talking about all the flooding going around Europe, and every day there's a catastrophe around the world. So it's definitely the path toward climate change and food security and health crisis. So plant-based is the way. in tech space in those 10 years, we've seen amazing thing from plant-based, the first plant-based proteins to now lab-grown meat. So if I think 20 years from now, I can't even imagine what there's gonna be, but I'm so curious, so excited to see. People will think. I think they're going to approach vegan cuisine in a different way. So if now it's a niche, being vegan or following a plant-based diet, I think it's going to be the other way around, where meat and fish and dairy, they're not going to be as consumed as they are today, hopefully. But the mainstream is going to be vegan, and consumers are definitely more aware about environmental impact, health impact that the Western diet has on animals, on health, on the planet. So can't wait to be 20 years from now.
Yeah, let's see. So we have a lot of questions from our public. The first one, what is the biggest obstacle for you to grow even more and create more restaurants in different places?
Tough. So people willing to do the hard work. Okay. People willing to do the hard work.
And vegan chefs, yeah?
Yeah, vegan chefs, or cookers, or at the moment it has been a massive obstacle for us. Still is today, to be honest with you. No shame in saying it. Actually, if someone wants to join, just shout out.
Okay. To what extent do vegan businesses, business persons, leverage international expansion opportunities, such as selling products in larger markets like India?
That's very interesting. It's definitely a strategies for growth, diversifying your market, and trying to find new public, new audiences. So it's definitely a path towards growth.
And do you think that you are going to open the Linfa in India one day?
Myself?
Yes.
I'd love to. Why not?
Okay.
I try to not have boundaries, limitations. I try not to have limitation. I'd love to. So my goal is to make plant-based food accessible and tasty and delicious, and definitely very, very happy to do it.
Okay, and what is your biggest learning so far that you can point out in creating the Linfa? What would you do differently if you could move back in time?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
How much time do we have?
We have 7 minutes.
Biggest one. Well, just going into the unknown has been a massive step up for me. I've learned so much in many different areas. So I never worked, despite being Italian, I never worked in Italy before Linfa. So I always worked abroad. Most of the time I spent into the UK after Dubai. So biggest learning is being an entrepreneur. I wasn't an entrepreneur. I think I can define myself as one today. So that's the one. That's the one. I was a managing director. I was a manager in restaurants, and then obviously owning a business puts you on a very different role. And unfortunately I had to learn it by my own. I would have loved to have a mentor, to have someone next to me guiding my way. And I've done so many mistakes, so many you can imagine, so many. But every one of them helped me to be where I am today.
So as we say, sometimes you learn, sometimes you win, yeah?
Yeah, you learn it on the way. Just jump, go in. Success and failure is something very personal, if you want my opinion. So you need to be happy with the kind of work you're doing, with the kind of impact you're having. It can be on your family, it can be in your city, it can be your neighborhood, and it can be in everything you do. You need to be happy. You define success is very personal definition. You need to be happy with the kind of work you're doing. Just don't think about what everyone is saying outside.
Yeah, and the last one, I might have missed it, but why is it so important for you and for your restaurant to go gluten-free?
Well, it has been a natural evolution for us, to be honest with you, because mine it's a service job, so I'm here to serve people, and I put a lot of emphasis on intolerances and allergies or personal preferences, because obviously by being vegan, I have some needs, and when I feel that my needs are listened, I feel comfortable. So I always stressed out to my team as well the importance of being careful with intolerances, allergies, having options for everyone. And it's actually came out that here in Milan, that once we started serving some celiac guests, they had no issue. They had a wonderful experience. They felt safe, and obviously it became word of mouth. So we've kind of been marked as a restaurant that takes care of people needs in this instance. So obviously we had more and more requests for gluten-free option. At the beginning, we were doing double production. So I'll give you a specific example: arancini, something that everyone's comfortable with. No, arancini. We were making the gluten version and the non-gluten version. But double production was insane. Was just madness, because we had to come into the kitchen, do a massive cleaning, start the gluten-free production, then do the gluten production, end of the day, obviously do a very heavy cleaning again. It was just too intense. We actually realized that the gluten-free arancini was as good as the gluten arancini. So why have a double production when the product we developed was as good as the previous one? We started changing every dish into gluten-free, and at a certain point we reached a point where 90% of our menu was gluten-free, and we said, we're almost there, we're almost 100%. Just let's make the last mile, the last effort. Obviously the biggest challenge was dough, in terms of bread, in terms of focaccia, in terms of pizza, also in terms of pasta. So it took us quite a lot of time, quite a lot of research, development, but in the end, we had a product that was extremely satisfying, and that still today we try to improve. So that's basically how we became gluten-free to 100% extension.
Thank you. And I think that you need to explain what are exactly arancini to our public.
Okay. It's rice bowl. Rice bowl. It can be done in different ways. There are different recipes, but the traditional one is with the ragu. So you've got a rice bowl that is stuffed and filled with the ragu and normally mozzarella. So it's a Sicilian dish. In Sicily, someone calls it arancina, or someone arancino. Shape is actually slightly different. Yeah, Italians, how they are with food, but it's a traditional Italian recipe, specifically from Sicily, and it's deep fried, and it's so good. You've got that crust, that coating, which is super crunchy, and then you've got the filling, which is which is soft and then melty because of the mozzarella. And obviously we are doing it in a 100% vegan version and gluten-free version. And trust me, I bet on this. If you give this kind of recipe to someone just on the street, don't tell them it's vegan, they're not realizing. They wouldn't know. They can't know.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And the last one is about your menu. So could you please tell us, present us the lunch menu in Linfa, and what would you recommend to our public?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? Because I just lost a little bit of that.
So if someone is going to visit Linfa during the lunch, what would you recommend to take?
Well, we're launching next week our autumn menu. So we've got seasonal dishes that I would recommend, but also some evergreens, let's say. So cashew and pepper, for example, is one of our most iconic dish. It's a vegan version of a cacio e pepe, which probably everyone's gonna be familiar with. Sushi is great. Sushi is great. You know what? I will actually recommend the tasting menu. Tasting menu gives you a very good understanding of the kind of cuisine we serve here at the restaurant, the style, presentation, ingredients, cooking methods. So tasting menu is definitely the best way to experience our restaurant if you're a first timers.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we need to finish our session. And thank you so much, Edoardo. If anyone is going to become a chef or would like to learn how to cook, you can contact Edoardo. And if anyone is going to eat anything or visit Milan, please do visit Linfa. And maybe we should organize the next European Vegan Summit 2025 in Linfa and watch amazing people. Watch amazing people preparing amazing vegan food. Edoardo, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your work. Thank you so much for being a game changer. And let's see each other in the next session with Sebastiano Cosia Castiglioni and Paulina Januszewska.
Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you.